Welcome back to another episode of the One-on-One podcast. My name is Josh Katz. I am joined, as always, by Kathy Baker and our videographer slash producer slash jack of all trades, Ryan Esteban. Guys, welcome.
Good to be here.
How's it going?
It's going good. We were talking earlier about we didn't know any Jets fans. I guess now they're all.
Wait, Kathy, you really want to start with that?
We are going right into it.
I'm going to jump into it because Ryan, last night you were the first one I thought about. I was like, oh my gosh, this is what Ryan had.
I feel like I'm so like hyper aware now because like J.K. Dobbins from the Ravens, like tore his Achilles. I'm just like, I'm watching football and I'm just like,
It's kind of like, you know, when you get a new car and then you constantly see that car on the road. I feel like you're now just seeing everybody who tears their Achilles.
I was a trendsetter.
I go back to Kobe shot free throws.
We were just talking about this. Like,
I would say, got up and shot a freaking free throw. Okay.
Yep. I mean, so
speaking of superstars, Josh, we've got one today.
We do. It's a great transition. And yes, we're feeling for Aaron Rodgers and all the Jets fans. And yes, but to transition back to real estate, we are joined by someone really awesome today. He's a member of the Realty ONE Group family and a soon-to-be One.U coach. So James Michener is here to join us, and you're going to discuss wealth management.
Yeah, building out a portfolio built off commission income and real estate income, essentially. So how to get yourself into financial freedom through selling real estate, investing in real estate, and all the other avenues that real estate offers.
I'm stoked for this episode. I don't know about you guys, because I just have a lot of like these are real personal questions. I feel like this is going to be very beneficial for me. And so I'm hoping that the content is great as well. But yeah, I think this is going to be great. Also, given that the industry is where it is. And so I think a lot of people are in a place of worry. They're nervous about what's next. They're nervous about their finances. And so I think that this is going to be excellent content for our network. So we're stoked to have you here.
Cool.
I do
Thanks.
too. And I will say, in an atmosphere of fear and people hearing messages that may or may not be true. We talk about that all the time, Josh and Ryan, about what are you listening to and why. I think it's going to be so important. I mean, look at this man, how calm he is. Yeah. A lot of people are struggling commission to commission and where's the next deal. We have the opportunity to have a guest who has very wisely invested in himself and can now provide for his family without having to be so worried about that next commission. And that's our goal. That's our wish for everyone in the One.U family, is that you can get to a point that you love what you do and do what you love, and you're more joy-filled and less panic-filled. So, you know, does he not look just calm as a cucumber?
He really does. And James, I think I want to start with something Kathy said, and this was like, let me backtrack really quick. Like, I don't come from the real estate world. I've been with Realty ONE Group going on 6 years, but when I joined this company, one of the things, and I write content for this company, and one of the things that Kuba really pushed was what Kathy said, is investing in yourself. And can you maybe like deep dive on that? Because I realize, especially during these times, it's hard for people to have that sort of mentality.
Yeah, I'll give you a great example. So one of my team members asked me, well, you've done coaching. How much have you invested into your education since you've been a realtor? I said, over $100,000.
Yeah.
But that $100,000 has paid off so like greatly. It's been incredible to see the changes in my team, the changes in my prospecting. I mean, when I first started in real estate, I closed 26 deals, right? That first 6 months, which was awesome. I did that in 6 months, right? And I made 45,000. The next year I made 180,000. Next year I made 300,000. Then it was 600, 750, 875, over $1 million, over $1 million, over $1 million, over $1 million, right? And that's not even including the passive income that came in. But that was all because of the training that I put in and putting myself around other people that were doing more than I was doing. So I was able to learn from them, right? I hated paying stupid tax. I would rather pay somebody teach me how to get rid of overcome all that early and skip it and take a bridge over the stupid tax than have to pay it myself. And if I had to pay a couple $1,000 to make, if I had to pay $1,000 to make $10,000, I was going to do it, you know? And if it was just your education, I was going to do it in a heartbeat. And it's gotten me to the spot where I am now. So
I think, and we've just met via Zoom, but one of the things that strike me is like what Kathy said is your calmness, but also you, it seems like you understand the end result. And so you can make tough decisions very, very quickly because you understand the end result. And so can you maybe discuss like how you've kind of built that like mental process? Because that is, it's easier said than done for a lot of people to write a check for $2,000 knowing that they may one day double that money.
Yeah, I just wrote a check for $25,000 for a coach for a mastermind. So yeah, I mean, but I know what I'm going to get out of it, right? Yeah, as long as I put the work into it. So my mindset for the end goal was easy because there was a blueprint built for me by my guardian father, who was a real estate broker. He's been a broker for 47 years. He retired about 30 years into his real estate career with 24 doors, making about making a good amount of money, right, off of his rental properties and some other investments. And I was like, dang, that'd be awesome to do that. So started selling real estate. About 3 years in, I'm tired, right? I mean, I'm closing over 100 deals a year by myself in a transaction coordinator. I'm like, I don't know that I can maintain this for 30 years like he did, right? Mm-hmm. Of course, he wasn't doing it at that pace like I was, but so I started saving money and I started buying rental properties, and then I learned about hard money investing. And the first hard money deal I did, I was in Canada, and this was about four years ago, and I lent the money, got paid back that full amount plus $12,000, and I was like, whoa. In 8 weeks, I just made $12,000 without really having to do anything except for send a wire transfer and looking at the property details. I'm like, bingo. Right. And then all of our rentals were producing so I've been in real estate a decade. Within the first 5 years, I was making over $100,000 in passive income. Now I'm making over $300,000 in passive income. And the reason is because I knew what that end goal was going to be for me. Right. Mm-hmm. And that was going to be through passive income in my investments. And the best thing about real estate, being a real estate agent, is you're involved in all of it. Right. You get the first deal. Yep. Go for it, Kathy.
Yeah. I want to pause. I want to make sure everyone on the call is tuned into your discipline.
Yeah.
Because we're talking about this. And I think one thing that's incredible, because a lot of people would make $100,000 and go, oh, mama gets a new purse. And they would be looking at purses, right? You had the discipline early on, and maybe it was your this blueprint and this guardian father. How was it instilled in you to reinvest? Was that natural, or was that through coaching? Is that what you plan to pass back in your coaching? Because I don't want to overlook that fine element of the discipline it takes to say, this is my income, but I'm going to stay at this lifestyle and take the overage and invest.
Yeah.
Yeah. So there's a couple ways that I look at that, right? And we'll talk about the discipline, but the discipline from my work standpoint was I was going to prospect from, 7:45 to 11:30, get as many listing appointments as I could in that amount of time and hit those or set them for the week. And nobody bothered me during that time. Nobody went into my office. I didn't take any calls except for my wife, but she'd have to triple dial me so that I knew it was an emergency, right? I mean, I'm serious, dude. I wanted to win.
Yeah.
And so that was the discipline. And then I would do my listing appointments from 12 o'clock, 2 o'clock, 4 o'clock, and 6 o'clock. And sometimes if I had to do an 8 o'clock, I would. But the amount of money that started coming in was incredible. And I had a lot of friends say, dude, you're making all this money. Why don't you buy a house in Hacienda, which is our nice area? Or why don't you buy a better car than your Toyota Camry? I said, because I just bought this duplex I'm living in. Now I'm rent free and I'm making $300 off of it. Then I just bought 2 other houses and I'm making $1,000 on each of those a month. Why would I want to go spend the money on a car or a house? I'm 28 years old at this point. I have no kids, and I wanted to be financially stable for when my kids came and I'd be able to spend some more time with them and make sure that my wife didn't have to work at the same time, because that was going to be important to me. So it was just saying no to those luxury things, and honestly pushing the idea of keeping up with the Joneses away constantly, because my friends were constantly saying, dude, why don't you get the Escalade? Why don't you get the big house? And it's like, I don't need that. And thank gosh, here's another big part of it. You and your spouse got to be on the same page too.
Yeah.
Because my wife could have wanted that purse. My wife could have wanted all this stuff, but she was okay. We were okay with living on $40,000 a year, and we felt great. I mean, it was amazing, you know. But if we wanted to take a trip, we could take it, and she was comfortable with me investing the money. So every commission check went into the bank. It was saved until the right deal came along. And guess where I found those deals? By prospecting and by my sphere of influence. Guess who gets the first swing at every single freaking deal? We do. Us as real estate agents, we get the first swing at every single deal. And so what I learned is if I couldn't buy the deal, I'm giving the deal over to one of my investors, right? And my investors, either they're fixing it up to flip it, they're holding it as a rental, or they're selling it to somebody else. So I was going to get a commission on the back end of one of those deals, two of which never happened because they would either rent it or they'd give it to one of their buddies, and then I'm out of it, right? But I built loyalty with some of those guys. Eventually I was like, dude, screw this. Like, I need to figure out a way that I can get paid. So I learned how to do wholesale. And wholesale is what taught me how to take down the contract and assign the contract to the investor. First one I did, 50 grand I made on that thing, right? Because I prospected this person for 2 years. Finally, she calls me. She's like, hey, my brother's moving out of this place. You should come look at it. We looked at it. She's like, it's trashed. We just want to get out of it. I said, cool, I'll give you X. She said, okay. And I knew that the investor wanted this same exact property. So I bumped the price up by 50 grand and gave it to him. And he's like, wait, I thought you were going to give it to me for what you bought it for. I'm like, not anymore, buddy. I know how to do wholesale. So either you or I got 4 other people that want it that'll pay me the 50 grand for this piece of paper. So I did that, right? And then save that money. Well, the next deal came along. I didn't want it, but there was another investor. He didn't have the cash. So I gave him the cash. He said, I'll give it back to you in 8 weeks. That 8 weeks turned into 12 grand of just me showing the deal, him taking it down, me giving him the money, getting paid back 12 grand in a matter of 8 weeks for basically sending a wire transfer, looking on the MLS for comps for stuff. And then you just start accumulating these deals, right? The rental property buying comes available to you through your prospecting and through your networking. And you just start taking them down. And 5 of these, what we did is we moved from house to house. So luckily, again, my wife was on board to be able to move 5 times, right? Because I was like, I get owner financing. I only have to put 5% down. Let's do it. The interest rate's lower. So she was cool with that, right? So we kept doing that. And we're actually going to buy a rental property, one of our first ones that's fully furnished and nothing to do with it. And my wife's like, yes, let's do this, because then we don't have to put any work into it, right? And she likes it. So it's just building wealth through there. And, 5 years in, you're at 100 grand passive income. Decade in, you're at over 300,000. And I'll tell you what really, 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 really opened my mind to this. Me and my son, so I had appointments scheduled for the next day, and we had a big snowstorm that was coming in that night. Well, guess what? It snowed, and it snowed a lot. It was about 1.5 feet, which we really don't get. My son wanted to build snowman, so I canceled my appointments because I can, or I rescheduled them because I can, because I've been financially free and I'm not going to get that time back with my son. So I wanted to be able to do that.
Right.
So I start building the snowman, right? And as I'm building the first one, I noticed that this little snowball that I start with, as I'm rolling it, gets bigger and bigger, faster and faster the bigger it gets. I'm like, oh my God. And then literally I'm building the snowman and this thought comes to my head. This is like money. The more you have, the bigger it gets, the faster it grows. The faster it grows, the more you have, and the more you can help people. So anyway, because I'm a big proponent of helping people too. I'll go into that a little bit later. But that snowball effect is huge, right? You have this little snowball, you're rolling it, it's getting bigger and bigger and bigger. And that's the same thing with money. Money has momentum. Money wants to grow. Money wants to get bigger. And so as long as you're a good steward of that money, and you're, don't want to get religious, but if you have God in your life and God wants you to be a good steward of that money, then you'll be, you'll be well taken care of. So you have to be a good steward of it, and you have to look for opportunities for it to grow. It's like anything, everything wants to grow, and your money wants to grow as well. So building that snowman with my son made me say, okay, let's look at some more opportunities. Let's see how we can make this money grow. And dude, since that snowstorm, I think I probably doubled my net worth by just looking at it that way. It was insane. I was like, what? This is crazy. I told my wife that story, James.
Kathy, I want you to jump in whenever you want, but because I don't want to say something that might, I'm just going to say it bluntly. You have figured out that, and correct me if I'm wrong, you have figured out that there's a part of the game that is what's obviously money is what drives all of us, but I think you have found that there's a rhyme and a reason to how you bring in the dollar bills. And I think you have kind of like figured out the trick of the trade. And so for you, it's for lack of other words, it sounds like it's a fun game for you. And, and so like, I think like, I'm sure that's where a part of where this discipline, drive, passion, success, like you've mastered it, which I mean, I hope that I can get your contact info after this and we can chat more.
For
sure. I love that.
One thing that he's mastered, and I love this conversation, Josh and Ryan, because very seldom do we have an opportunity to put our hands around the power of abundant thinking versus scarcity thinking. Mm-hmm. And James is that living wherever it came from. If it came from a mentor, if it came from your guardian, wherever that came from, it's money wants to grow.
Yeah.
And a lot of us think, I need to hide my money in the mattress, right? Because people want to steal. But your abundant thinking and that mindset, I think, Josh, is the key. I think that's the secret sauce. And what you said, I think a big part of that is gratitude. Mm-hmm. And so if you speak to that of not only am I obtaining wealth for my family, but how do I give back? How do I serve back?
That
absolutely.
And I also think the keeping up the Joneses part that you brought up, I think is huge, right? Especially us here in Orange County. I mean, we see people live beyond their means every single day. You see it at every single stoplight, and it's hard. Like, I'll be the first to admit, like, it's hard when you are living amongst that, but you have realized there's so much more to life and so much more to your wealth than showing your neighbors how nice your car is or how big your home is or whatever.
And what's impressive is you control that. I'm going to use the word control. You took control of that at age 28, because I think you said I'm 28, and not many 28-year-olds don't go, hey, I'm getting the car.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, was it hard? Sometimes, because it's nice to look flashy. But now I have the diesel truck that's brand new. Now I have the camper that's brand new. Now I have the 4,000 square foot house. I got deals on all of that, right? Because that's just who I am. But yeah. So, but the other thing I wanted to touch base on, two things, right? One is mindset, and then the other skipped my mind, but hopefully it'll come back. So mindset, right? So you have to have the mindset of looking for these deals, right? It just goes back to what Josh said about once you buy that car, you know what car is out there. Or Aaron Rodgers tears his ACL, so Ryan's looking at everybody that tears ACL, and he's seeing it all over the place.
They're going to be discount. They're going to be on sale. Go ahead.
Yeah, right. Seriously. So if you keep your mindset open to, I want to find more deals, you're going to get those deals. You're going to get more of the rentals. You're going to be able to have more of those conversations. It's going to be more around you, and it's going to be more abundant than you've ever thought in your life. The number one thing that you need to do, though, is build your relationships and keep your relationships, and not be in it for the deal, be in it for the person, and make sure that you're helping them. There's been plenty of deals that I could buy from somebody and just rip them off. But I said, this is what you can sell for on the market. If I want to list it for you and sell it, you can get this. This is what I'll buy it for you. So you're leaving essentially this amount of money on the table. Mm-hmm. And every time I bought it, they said, nope, I don't want to deal with the hassle of listing or going through it. I'd rather just have a for sure buyer. And I make them sign something that says, this is the price that they could have gotten. This is the price I'm giving them. And they have $500 to go to an attorney to review this contract. Because one of these deals, I had a really hard time. So I prayed about it, talked to God. I talked to a couple of my friends as well. And my buddy said, if God didn't want this to happen, you wouldn't keep putting it in your face, and you prayed about it, you thought about it, you brought it up to her, go for it, take it. So I did. And it turned out the way I thought it was going to turn out, which that's another story for a different time. She was okay and everything worked out, but it was still just, some people just need to get out of a deal.
Talk about the giving back. I think that's what you're going to take to next.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm constantly donating to all kinds of charities, whether it's Salvation Army. So I grew up very poor. My mom was a single mom. We lived in a low-income housing. My dad wasn't around. And when I was 15 years old, my mom went to move with my grandma in a one-bedroom house. Me and my brother were going to live instead. And thank God, God looked after us, and we were able to find two families. Mine was with the Collins, who's my guardian father and showed me everything about investing and how to be a family and whatnot. And the other family my brother got taken in was amazing as well. So we both learned a lot of lessons. So I always wanted to give back, right? Because I felt like God put a lot of stuff in my life from the families that helped support me through my soccer programs, because everything was always paid for. Granted, we were really good soccer players and really good athletes, so they wanted us on the teams, but they still paid for it.
Oh, that's a buzzword.
But they still.
I played soccer. I played my whole life. I played in college too. Yeah.
Oh, nice. My brother won 2 national championships in college. So
where did
we'll talk about that later.
Wait, where did he play at?
He went to Yavapai College.
Okay.
Yavapai.
Got it. My brother, this sidebar, my brother won national championship at UC Santa Barbara in 2007.
Oh, nice, dude. Sweet. I'll talk to you about a different stuff. For sure. Cool. So I'm constantly donating to the food banks, to when there's Coach for Kids. Me and my wife go buy tons of coats and we just drop them off, and everybody's like, oh my gosh. But I was a kid that didn't have a coat back in the day, right? So I wanted to give that. There was times when I first started in real estate, I was on food stamps and I would go as early as I could in the morning to go shopping. And of course, I'm always seeing one of my friends there as I'm starting in real estate, and I have my EBT card, so I'm constantly giving back to all that stuff. The children's hospitals, my grandma doesn't make a lot of money, so I bought her condo in Sedona, and she lives in that now because I knew that rents were going to go up and whatnot. And my wife's like, well, you really like this condo complex, why don't you just buy one? And I'm like, oh yeah, I guess I could just go buy one. So what did I do? I pulled all the phone numbers for that condo complex, every single number, and I called through the entire list of 120 owners there. The last 16 of them, I hit the start button. I'm doing my paperwork because I'm not paying attention to who I'm calling because I've been doing it for so long. Lady picks up, start talking to her, and she's like, wait, your grandma's my renter. And I look up and I'm like, what? Oh, I wasn't supposed to call you. My grandma said not to call you. She's like, oh, she's such a sweet lady. What's going on? I was like, I was looking to buy one. And so she didn't want me to put the idea in your head of selling. She's like, well, I was thinking of selling or refinancing or something. And I'm like, I was like, I'll buy it from you. Right. And this was right before COVID hit. Right. And I bought it for $250,000. Now it's worth $650,000. Right. Wow. And, but now my grandma's safe from rent increases or anything else. Right. And I make sure to take care of her. I give her like gas money, grocery money. I paid for various things for my mom and my brother. I've helped my in-laws out. Like I've given my in-laws money to help fix up their house for weddings and then various things that they needed. I've helped buy cars for people. Like whatever I can do that feels right and that God's leading me towards is what I'm going to do. So, and God gave me the ability to be able to do something like this. So then I need to take that power and help others, because he didn't give it to me for my own selfish reasons. He gave that to me so I could help other people.
I think you also, and you can go into as much as you want. I think you it sounds like you did not have the easiest childhood or upbringing, and you definitely have a mentality of, you obviously had your parent guardian that influenced you a lot and taught you a lot, but it also sounds like you have done so much on your own. And so it even the fact that you said, I picked up the phone and I called 120 different people in a complex. Like most people would hire an assistant or someone to do that. But it sounds like you have done most things on your own, which has created this very successful attitude. I mean, it's intoxicating, for lack of other words. It really is.
Well, thank you. And now I've learned to leverage more things you don't sell 183 homes by yourself, right? You have to leverage that out with assistants and stuff. Sure. And I did that 1 year. I sold that many homes. And then with the team, we sold 367 homes if you include wholesale and whatnot and some fix and flips. So in 1 year, but that's through leverage. So if something's really important to me, I'll do it myself. Mm-hmm. And have other people help me like pull the leads or whatnot, but that all came through discipline, right? And believing in myself and trial and error, and also being around other people that think bigger than me and have more money. I mean, I'm at this event called Built How in Phoenix. And I was like, why are you going to an event? You haven't been to an event in a little while. Like, because there's people that think bigger than me. There's the market shifting. Like, I want to know what's going on out there, and I want to be like, I'm starving to be around really great people. That mastermind I spent $25,000 on, there's like 2 people out of like 40 that had more money than me and did more stuff. And I'm like, I want more. Like, I want to be around bigger thinkers because it helps me out so much. And then if it helps me out that much, I can help other people out that much, because Tony Robbins says the more you give in your life, the happier you will be. So if you're in a bad spot in your life, start giving more. Start giving more of your time. Start giving more of your information. Start giving, and you will get way more back. And it's like when you donate stuff or you give money away, you get that money back like 5 or 10 times more, because that's what God wants you to do, is give it back, and he'll give you more because you're being a good steward of his money, and you're gonna it's just how it works. It's reciprocity. It's just gonna work that way. It's gonna be amazing. So
I honestly, this is all seriously very, very, very good advice. We know you are at literally this proof of how you don't stop working. He's literally at a conference right now. So
I was smashing my lunch before. Like, oh man, I got to get on this call.
We really would love to have you back on and maybe like get into the nitty gritty of, some of the more like details about how agents can be using their money like a little bit more wisely, or especially in markets like this. But we know you're a busy guy, and we really, really, really thank you for joining us today.
Yeah, you're very, very welcome. So.
I'm excited for everybody to have access to James through the coaching program. And if you're interested, there'll be more to come. It's coming soon. So James, thank you for this time. What a great opportunity.
You're so welcome, Kathy. Thank you. And
Thanks,
thank
James.
you, Ryan. Thank you, Josh.
Thank you.
Yep.
We thank you for joining us today on another episode of One on One, a Realty ONE Group podcast. We are powered by One.u and ask if you have suggestions, recommendations, or questions, please email learning@realtyonegroup.com. And remember, pay close attention to the details. Listen to understand, not respond, and always be a resource, not a sales pitch.